every every one of us, right? There's in the boundless depths of our entire being, there lies this innate essence that craves like neither external validation or material abundance for our sense of fulfillment. But our basic needs of sustenance, they're essential, right? True contentment, though, resides in discovering the, I guess, treasures that are already nestled within us. And in this pursuit of our inner fulfillment, we have to really set out on a profound journey of self-exploration. We have to, like, really gently and discerningly, but with great importance, like, we turn our attention to the workings of our mind, and through this kind of like a patient observation, we eventually just come to realize that we're not this incessant chatter of our thoughts, or the ever changing tides of our emotions, our emotional states or reactions, but we're rather, there exists this observer, right? A silent witness, untouched by the ebb and flow of these mental and emotional tides. And we can see that because we say we're viewing the mind, and we ask ourselves, who is it that exactly is observing the mind? And as we delve deeper into this kind of self-inquiry, we encounter this profound question, right? Who is the observer? Who is it that beholds the play of thoughts and all of these feelings? And in this kind of introspective quest, we really uncover a timeless sense of awareness, right? Unbound by the limitations of the external world. And it's this silent observer, this essence of our being, right? Because it's not held within the confines and the conditions of the mind, and it holds the key to our real, true sense of inner fulfillment. And it realizes that this kind of peace that we're always seeking, and this, that we're always trying to dig into with ourselves, this contentment that we yearn for, it's not dependent on acquiring possessions or achieving the sense of worldly success, but it blossoms, right, from this recognition of our inherent wholeness. I mean, you read through a lot of books and look at people who've discovered things, and you can see that these sages of old, right, they've imparted this wisdom that transcends time and culture, and it's so important to look into this, and they remind us that in this world that's clouded by overconsumption, overproduction, overcompensation, overreaching, right, all of these things, this sense of true wisdom, it lay with turning our gaze inward, right? And by nourishing the roots of our consciousness itself, we uncover or unveil this wellspring of wisdom that every single one of us has. This compassion, this contentment that sustains through all of life's trials. Like, I think it's so important for us to really seek solace within ourselves and to face these shadows that dance in our minds, and really embrace the sense of our true essence, that beyond the illusions of this external world and beyond the illusions of our conditioning, right, beyond the illusion of these filters that we perceive ourselves and the world through. And in doing this, we liberate ourselves from these chains of superficial desires and find freedom in the simplicity of just being, right, of just allowing ourselves to be without this constant chatter and criticism and judgment and all of these preconceived notions that exist within the confines of the mind. And as we collectively awaken to this kind of inherent fullness within ourselves, our actions will naturally align with a sense of balance, harmony, equanimity, right? And we will just organically cease to seek fulfillment through excessive consumption or endless pursuits, right? This doesn't mean that we just give up on life. It means that we add a whole other dimension to it, as we recognize that our true sustenance comes from nurturing this inner flame of our awareness. And in this kind of, you can say, awakened state, a different perspective, we've become guardians of the earth, because we sense and understand and experience our interconnectedness, right? We become stewards of compassion and these bringers of peace, right? That's what goes along with this. We have hearts that are suddenly unburdened by insatiable cravings because we recognize these cravings and these conditionings for what they are. And we cultivate a world where the abundance of our inner reservoir is shared with all beings, everything, right? And the profound interconnectedness of life is fully acknowledged, experienced, lived, perceived, right? Day to day, waking, dreaming. We perceive this. And it's this whole inward journey of self-discovery, right? That we come to understand that the very fabric of our existence, it's totally interwoven with the tapestry of the cosmos, right? The separateness that we once felt, it totally dissolves into this interconnectedness of life, where every thought, every action, every choice, it reverberates through the cosmic web, because that's how we perceive ourselves. When we perceive ourselves as separate, we experience suffering. When we perceive ourselves as interconnected, well, our suffering diminishes greatly. And as we dive deeper into this ocean of our consciousness, we encounter that vast reservoir of creativity and potentiality, right, that resides within. This is where it all comes from. It's internal. And from this wellspring, these ideas and innovations, they come out. They naturally arise, not just for the sake of personal gain, but to serve the betterment of humanity and the world we inhabit. So this quest for external validation and the pursuit of these superficial achievements, they fade away on their own. They're replaced by a more authentic expression of our true selves, because we're no longer limited to the confines and expressions of this conditioned mind, and instead have expanded ourselves beyond that. And in honoring that uniqueness, we contribute our individual notes to the symphony of existence, right? And in doing that, we enrich the world with diverse melodies that harmonize in this grand orchestration of life itself, right? And we embrace our inner completeness, and we cease to seek approval or validation from others, and instead we radiate a quiet confidence that uplifts those around us, and it invites them to take part on their own journey of their own self-discovery in a very subjective and very personal manner, right? Because that has to happen. We have to look internally and find what it is we need to face and overcome, and we can't do that by constantly seeking external, validation through external sources, whatever that may be. And when people become empowered by our examples, others find the courage to turn inward as well, and to embrace their own vulnerability, and to cover the reservoir of strength that resides within themselves, right? So as we awaken to this truth of our interconnectedness, we recognize the impact of our actions on the planet and all of its inhabitants, no matter who they are, right? Animals, human beings, insects, all of it. We become stewards of the planet, and this relentless pursuit of excessive consumption, material gain, loses its allure and is replaced by a reverence for the earth and a commitment to steward its resources with more care and mindfulness. And the overproduction that once fueled a throwaway culture, it really gives way to more of a mindful creation, right? Where every endeavor it's infused or imbued with purpose and intention. We find a deep sense of joy and simplicity, right? And we learn how to cherish the quality of our creations over the quantity produced. Like this overcompensating to fill a perceived void within oneself, it fades away. And as we realize that the essence of our being, it's already whole, right? We do not need to seek externally so much, right? The authenticity becomes the guiding principle in our interactions, right? And our relationships deeper as we connect heart to heart, and we free the masks of pretense, So we don't have to be driven by the urge to overreach for external goals. We find contentment in the journey itself, celebrating the continuous expansion of our inner horizons, and this unfolding path of self-discovery, we uncover a sense of meaning and purpose that it transcends these transient achievements anyways, right? So as humanity, we have to unite in this inward exploration. It has been too long that we've been reaching externally to provide some sort of source, right? We're a very material driven culture. Each of us might want to say, no, I'm not, but are we taking the time to look internally? If we weren't so externally driven, then what would reflect in our culture and humanity would be an internally driven, race. But hopefully we're getting to that slowly. We'd foster a world where each individual is encouraged, right, to undertake this journey of self-awareness without reflecting upon the mind and its workings, your own mind and the workings of it, my own mind and the workings of my own mind. We can't uncover what's there, and if we can't uncover it, we can't grow past it. And as more hearts open to this sort of wisdom within ourselves, our collective consciousness elevates, and it paves the way for a more compassionate, sustainable, and harmonious future, right? This call to look inward, I think it needs to resound far and wide, and right, it needs to inspire humanity to awaken to the inherent treasures that lay within ourselves, because it's when realizing our inner richness that all of us have, every single one of us, that we liberate ourselves from the chains of desire, right? And in turn liberate the world from the burden of overconsumption, overproduction, overcompensation, and this overreaching. And we have to do this together. And when we do this together, then hand in hand, we embark on this transformative quest, right? Breathing new life into a new paradigm of conscious living and embracing the boundless beauty of our shared humanity, right? I think we have to hear this call to dive deep in ourselves and reclaim the power that lies dormant in all of us, and this fulfillment that we seek externally, right? It's not the ever-expanding material realm at all. That's useful. It's very useful, and we should use it to meet our needs. But if we're not looking inward, we're not really using things in a healthy manner, right? We're expressing our traumatic states and traumas and the conditioning of our mind and applying that to our material world. We have to look inward with unwavering determination. We strip away the layers of condition that shackle our true essence, and we have to really just throw away, right, the chains of this consumerism and production for production's sake and the insatiable quest for this sense of external approval. We have to embrace this fierce authenticity that burns in every single one of us and our mind, right? It's this incessant chatterbox. It holds no real dominion over your true self at all. You challenge it, look at it, challenge it, observe all of its tricks and its illusions with a deep sense of discernment. Look at it and ask yourself, who is it that's looking at the mind? It's very important to do that. And you're not the thoughts, you're not your emotions or the stories that it all weaves. You're the unyielding observer behind that witnesses this grand spectacle of consciousness itself, right? So in this kind of fierce introspection, you have to really ask yourself, who am I beyond the masks that I wear? Who gazes upon this tumultuous sea of thoughts and feelings? Who is that, right? The answer, it doesn't lie in the cacophony of the world, but in the sublime silence of your being. Namaskar.